Hi, in this video we're going back to the 70s, 1978 to be precise, with this Binatone Superstar Portable Entertainment Master Console. So I saw this on eBay for spares or repair and I think I paid £15 for it. And that was about 3 years ago. I've just had a look at the listing. It came with a stunt rider game. I think there's another cartridge in the bottom here, which is a Super 10, which has got 10 games on, and the console itself. So I'll just get it out of the box, and in overall it looks in pretty good condition. One thing I have noticed though on the back, it looks like it's all melted here. And what I think's happened here is this is one of the feet that was on the inside of the box. I think the rubber has kind of reacted with the plastic over time. You can see on this one as well, and it's kind of, the rubber stuff's kind of leached out and melted the plastic by the looks of things. I haven't came across that before, so I don't know if any of you guys have. If so, leave it in the comments below. So I think the first thing we'll do is we'll put some batteries in, we'll see if it powers up, and I'll connect it with a TV and we'll see if we get any TV picture on it. Right, that's all the batteries in. Let's plug the joysticks in. Let's pop a cartridge in. Well, we'll get a power light on. Let's go over to the TV and see what's going on there. All we seem to be getting is just a blank screen and that's it. So it's not working. In the listing it was described as untested, so we normally know what that means. Not working. So this is model 014354 and it's a Binatone Superstar. Well, let's see how it comes apart then. I'll just take the batteries back out. So it looks like we have 4 Phillips screws down here, so let's remove those. And we're into it. Let's see if I can put these screws somewhere so I don't lose them. So we've got a hand-drawn PCB there. So I think the next thing is we'll take that out. So it looks like we need to remove 1, 2, 3, 4 screws here. Looks like possibly a bit of corrosion or something there, I'm not sure. It's definitely signs of something. Right, let's see what we've got in here then. So it looks like we've got a UHF modulator there. Let's just zoom down a little bit. I'm not sure what that board is, but that looks something to do with like a UHF modulator as well. So I don't understand why we've got 2. Looks like we've got a little diode and transistor there. Looks like we've got 2 crystals. Is that 4.433 megahertz and a 3.5625? Bit unusual. Let's plug this back in. Right, I'm just going to have a look at the instructions because I think I did see a schematic in the instructions, which is something of a rarity these days. So I've just been having a look over the schematic here, just to see what's what. So it looks like they're using a Zener diode and a transistor for the power supply here. And it looks like they've got the power LED going to pins 15 and 30, and the output of the power supply goes to pin 2 on the edge connector. I think these might be the colours, like possibly something like RGB, and these might be the sync pulses, something like that anyway. I'm not sure whether that's a black and white input or not. It looks like those are the inputs to the cartridge slot from the joysticks. And we've got the different selection buttons going to those pins of the edge connector. Same with those. And this looks like a little crystal circuit that sends a clock pulse to the cartridge slot. And we've got a little audio amplifier here as well, so looks like pin 25 on the cartridge slot is the sound. Now, I didn't hear any sound on it as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hook it up to the, I mean, it could be the cartridge that the problem's in. I should try the other cartridge really, just to see what's going on there. But I think the first thing we'll do, we'll just check that we're getting 5 volts to pins 15 and 30 on the cartridge slot. So according to the schematic, pin number 2 on the edge connector should be the power output. Now I would assume it would be 5 volts, although here it says 6.5. Let's see what we're getting on there. Just going to volts DC, and pin number 2. I'll switch the bench power supply on. Getting about 6.4, 6.5. That might well be right then. Let's just check across these ICs. 6.5, 6.5. I would have thought it should be 5 volts. Or it definitely says 6.5 in the manual here. Unfortunately, it doesn't tell you where R6, R7 and R8 is. I guess it's probably going to be these ones here, because they look like pull-ups going to one of these gates. So we've got 6.5 on those. Now let's switch this back off a second. I'll try the other cartridge because we've got one here called Stunt Cycle. So let's see if that does anything when we plug that one in. Let's see if I can get that to plug in. Right, that's plugged in. Let's see if anything happens on the TV screen now when I switch it on. In fact, we don't even have a cartridge inserted light on. Yeah, we do there when I press on it a bit. Definitely got something going on there. Bad connection or something. All the pins look okay. Let's try that again. And on the TV screen, we're just getting a blank screen here at the moment. I'll switch it off and switch it back on there. We are getting something. Well, it's just a blank screen. I think the next thing, we'll get the scope out and we'll just see if we're getting any oscillations on these crystals here, I think. Right, I've got the scope hooked up. Let's just try on this point here. Yeah, so we're getting 4.433 megahertz on that. So that one's working okay. Let's try on this one. And nothing. Looks like we've just got a blank, just a flat trace on that one. Can't even see the other pin on this. It's got all this black glue stuff on it, or brown glue. Right, we've got the other leg there now. Let's try on that one. Right, so we've got no oscillation on that side. And no oscillation on that side. I'll just switch this off a second and we'll just try a cartridge in. Just in case it needs the cartridge to actually do anything. That's the cartridge in. Definitely seems to be some kind of bad connection there as well. Let's just try the scope probe again. Nothing. Nothing. So I wonder if this crystal has gone, this 3.5 megahertz crystal. Right, I'll have a look, see if I've got one of those. Well, I've had a look around in my old boards, and the only crystal that I've been able to find that's close is a 4.433 megahertz, which is the same as the other crystal, but not the same as the one that we actually need. But I'm just going to try it in any case, just to see if we get any oscillations, and then if that does oscillate, then we'll order the correct part. Well, it looks like the crystal's here, so just desolder it. So that's the crystal removed. And I think I'll just tack this one on the back of the board, and then we'll switch it on. We'll just check to see if we get any oscillations. So let's put a bit fresh solder back on these. Still nothing. Just a flat line. Let's try some of the pins on this IC here. I just wonder if this IC could be faulty. What's that chip? It's a CD4069. I'll see if I've got one of those. Let's see if we can get the old one out. I'll put some fresh solder on these legs first. Right, I've got the old IC out. Well, I've had a hunt around, and that's the old chip that I've just removed, and I've found a replacement there which I think should do. So we'll put this one in and we'll see if that makes any difference. Right, let's see if we get any oscillation on this crystal now then. Well, hey, 4.433 megahertz, excellent. So I think we'll take this crystal back off now, and we'll try the original one back in, and we'll see if it still oscillates. I seem to have this horrible brown glue on the original crystal, which I know can cause problems. And see if I can remove that first, I think. Right, that's the crystal back in place. Just solder that back up. Right, I'll switch that on and we'll just see if we get any oscillation on the crystal now then, which should be here. And we do. Well, we did. I'll just see if I can get that on properly there. 3.56. Looks like that IC there's faulty. So let's try a cartridge in now and we'll see if we get a picture or anything. I'll try this Super 10 one. I'll switch the power on. Right, we've got a light on. Let's see if we get any picture now. Well, I seem to have a blank screen. That's supposed to be reset. we've got something there now. I've just tried switching it on and off, and we seem to have a picture. Excellent. I forgot the sound comes through the actual speaker on here, doesn't it? It doesn't actually come through the TV speaker. I'll just turn the sound down on the TV. So at least on the face of it, it seems to be working now. Right, let's see if I can plug a joystick in and see if the sound and that works. I've got sound, but I don't seem to have any controls. Let's try plugging it into the other socket. Ah, we've got something there now. Oh, it is a bit jumpy about. And the sound seems to have kind of gone off a bit there as well. Now the whole thing's gone off. So I'm going to put some contact cleaner into the cartridge slot just to try and clean that up, and into some of these switches here. Hopefully that should make it have better contact now. Well, that seems a little bit better. I still think it needs the joystick cleaned though. Right, so I think I'll kind of half reassemble this back together now while it's working. And then we'll test the Stunt Rider game. Right, it's all back together. I'll just plug the cartridge in and switch it on. Hit reset. So, which joystick we're on? That one. So this is the target game, which is number 1. If I can actually hit anything with it, that is. There we go, got 1. 2. So then we've got game number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, game number 8, number 9. Let's see where the bats are there, so you can see them moving around. And game number 10. So that one seems to work okay. So let's try the stunt cycle one now. And I remember playing this at a friend's house when I was a kid. So let's just switch this one on. Well, it doesn't look quite right, does it? Well, something's happening when I'm pressing the buttons there. But nothing else. We seem to have the screen split halfway down, and it doesn't seem to be doing anything. So I think there's something wrong with that cartridge. I mean, that's having an effect, that button there. But the gear isn't starting. Right, so it looks like there's a problem with this one as well then. So I'm just carefully trying to peel away this sticker here, just to try and access the screws. I should have possibly put a little bit hot air on this, but we'll see how we get on. It seems to be coming off slowly. So it looks like it's just a screw on each side. Right, so that's the board out. I mean, I could try cleaning this edge connector first. It looks like it's had a bit of work done on this. Looks like there's a track missing there. And somebody's soldered direct. Let's have a look at the other side of the board. The old 555 timer there. That's unusual. It's like it's in a chip socket, but the chip socket's missing. It's just like the pins of the chip socket. So it might be worth trying to reseat this chip, and then we'll see if that makes any difference. That first pin, is that even in? It looks like it's on the outside of the chip holder, that one. Right, I'll see if I can take this chip out, clean the legs, and I'll try cleaning this edge connector, and we'll see if that makes any difference. I'm just going to put some switch cleaner on this connector here, and just use a bit of paper just to gently clean these contacts. I've got a little bit muck off, not lots. Let's just try the other side. Yeah, you can see that one's a mile off. I've never seen a chip socket like that before. And even all these chip legs aren't very straight. I'm just wondering whether it's worth taking that off and putting a proper chip socket in there. I'll see if I've got a chip socket big enough. I found a replacement chip socket, so let's desolder all of these. Looks like a lot of the pins aren't actually used. It's me just as quick to pull these out. Let's clean this up with a bit of solder wick. I think it looks a bit better. Just check that this is flat to the board. Right, let's just give that a bit of a clean up with some IPA. And we'll just use a little toothbrush as well, just to get rid of the flux. There we go. Better than factory, as they say. Look at all the flux all over here. Right, let's see if we can get this chip put in. Right, I'm happy with that. Right, let's put this in and see what it does now then. What? Right, there we go, but it just looks the same as what it did before. I think there's something internally wrong with this IC. I'll see if I can find any information on this IC on the internet, and then we'll come back to it, but I'm not very hopeful with this one. Well, I think I've made a little bit of progress. I found the pinout of this IC here. I'll just zoom down a little bit so you get a bit closer look. And this pin here is the throttle input, and it's supposed to have a square wave on it. So when you move the joystick here, if you just look at the scope trace, I'm not getting anything. So I think that's partly why it's not working. And if I tune the TV in again, I can get the screen to sort of lock in the right position, so that might just be a glitch with the TV. But it seems that the problem might be to do with this 555 timer or something around here. This pin here is the input from the throttle, but it almost looks high all the time. If I move the throttle very slightly, you can just see the scope trace just moving a tiny little fraction. Like if I press there, it's up very slightly towards the center line, and when I move it there, it moves down very slightly. So that's where I'm up to so far anyway. Well, I've just changed the 555 timer with an HA17555, because that's all I had lying around, and it still hasn't made any difference. I've just tried it there. However, what I have just noticed this is the resistor that takes the input from the joystick. And if we look here, I don't know if you can spot anything. Just find something to point with there. If we look at just here, that seems to have broken away from the track. There's the end of the track there. So I wonder if that's what the problem is. I think it well could be. So I'm going to repair that, and then we'll try it and see if it works. I'll probably just solder a piece of wire from there to there. I've just scraped the track back and put a bit of solder on it there. What I'm going to do is just use a bit of a leg off an old resistor or something just to patch that across. Something a bit like that. I'll just snip the little excess off. I think that should do. Just try just a little bit extra solder on there. That's better. Right, let's give this a try then. So if we look at pin 18 on this chip here, we've got a waveform there now, and if I move the joystick, you can see the frequency increasing, and if I move it that way, you can see it decreasing. And if we look at the TV screen now, I'll just hit reset. Oh, that was a bit too quick. I'll just try that again. If we change the game, we'll go on to this one, I think. I think you've got to do wheelies over those somehow. I've got no idea. But at least it's all working now, so I'll put the cover back on and then I think we'll wrap up. So there we go, a nice bit of nostalgia from the 1970s. And one thing I've just noticed is it's still got the price on this cartridge here, £10.95. So I've looked up to see what that is in today's money at time of recording, and it's about £70, so quite expensive for a cartridge back in the day. So if you remember this game, or if you had one of these, or if it brought back some fond memories for you, please leave it in the comments below. And thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.